Are you lonely? Alright guys, so today I'll be doing a showcase on the WW1 U.S. squad pouch. So the history behind the squad pouch is a bit of a mystery, as the name squad pouch has been only given to by collectors, and even though it's not entirely accurate, but for the sake of it, I'll call it as the squad pouch. So the history behind it was it was developed around the same time when the U.S. declared war on Germany, as this was developed in response to the amount of foot injuries that U.S. soldiers had during their campaign against Pancho Villa, and the reason why a lot of soldiers had foot injuries, mainly because the shoes didn't really fit, as well as that many soldiers didn't bother to apply foot powder, because you have to take out the entire haversack, which is quite of a hassle, especially on a full pack. So the U.S. Army decided to make this as a way to make it easier, not here. And it was typically, and though it was called the squad pouch by collectors, you gotta understand that collectors don't really know what they're talking about sometimes, or half the time. But this was never really issued to squad leaders at a massive scale, as this was produced quite late in the war, and not many of them ever saw overseas service. However, what it did is probably issued towards medical units, as this is quite of a useful tool as a medical pouch. With that said, from the condition, it looks quite dirty, but overall, it's never been issued, as a lot of unissued gear are typically in good condition, like this one. And that's where a lot of these late war U.S. gear ended up being, because much of the gear has never been used, not even through World War II, I believe. But probably some of them were, but they probably forgot about it. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Though from a preservation standpoint, it's somewhat pointless, because because there's like, the point of like military collecting is to like preserve the history behind it, and the fact that this one barely had a history is somewhat weird. I mean, considering that much of the unissued items goes for way more than a regular item should, and the manufacturer of this item is made by Powers 1918, so this is probably made around like mid to late 1918. When you open these dot fasteners, it's quite roomy. I mean, you can fit an iPhone there, and for an example, you can use this tank and fit it snugly, and there's still some room for it. So it's actually quite of a nice gear. I mean, it's not like a backpack, but it's like a nice looking kind of a wallet-like gear. I mean, as it's quite durable, as you're probably not gonna fall on you due to these dot fasteners. And you can actually attach this to a belt. Interestingly, these were they were advertised as like a belt pouch, I would say. And what they cost back in 1926 was around $1, which is way less than I paid for, as this was like $15 when I got it from a collector's swap meet. It was not the one. It was not like the bigger one. It was like a much smaller one. So yeah, overall, it's yeah, the history is a bit of a messy one, but overall, it's a nice piece to have, even when and especially is useful for outdoors, even though a backpack would have been better. But hey, if you want to have some gear, there you have it.